Donald Trump is the most dangerous candidate for president in my lifetime. And to oppose Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. He's thrown away to somebody who doesn't have a clue as to what that means.
Trump claims he's the champion of the working class, but Bruce Springsteen just called BS. The rock legend didn't pull any punches, labeling Trump a flagrant toxic narcissist. Ouch. Curious how Trump tried to brush off this critique from an American icon. We'll show you his weak attempt at a comeback and why it's got people questioning if Trump really understands the average Joe at all. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Picture this. Donnie's at another one of his rallies, promising the moon and stars to all the hard-working folks. He's got his MAGA hat on, waving his tiny hands around like he's conducting an invisible orchestra of empty promises.
He's thrown away to somebody who doesn't have a clue as to what that means. He doesn't understand the meaning of this country, its history, or what it means to be deeply American.
That he wants to take down the entire democratic system with him if he goes, but he's such an unreflective person.
I'm gonna bring back all your jobs, he shouts, his face turning a shade of orange that would make a traffic cone jealous. The crowd goes wild, probably because they haven't realized yet that Trump's about as useful as a screen door on a submarine when it comes to actually helping the working class. But hold on to your red hats, folks, because the boss is about to drop a truth bomb that'll make Trump's hairpiece stand on end. Bruce Springsteen, the man who's been singing about the struggles of everyday Americans since before Trump learned how to spell bankrupt, has some choice words for our grumpy Trumpy.
He has no sense of decency and no sense of responsibility.
And the sanctity of the peaceful transfer of power should disqualify him from the office of president.
Back on the entire democratic process.
And is that dangerous?
Yeah, it is. I think
Springsteen's not buying what Trump's selling. He calls out Trump's promises for what they are. Simple answers to very complicated questions. It's like Trump's trying to fix a broken-down car with a Band-Aid and a can of spray paint. The boss isn't having any of it. While Trump's busy promising to make America great again, whatever that means, Springsteen's breaking down how globalization's been giving American workers a wedgie for the past 40 years. He's talking about factories closing, jobs disappearing, and entire communities turning into ghost towns.
Would you say that you're proud to be born in the USA, to quote your most famous song?
very dangerous.
Donald Trump is the most dangerous candidate for president in my lifetime.
Go quietly into the, gently into the good night. I think he's going to make a big a mess as he can.
You know, the kind of stuff Trump pretends he can fix with a wave of his magic comb-over. But here's the kicker. Springsteen's not just complaining. He's laying out how complex these issues really are. It's not as simple as slapping a Made in America sticker on everything and calling it a day. The boss is painting a picture of a country that's been through the ringer, with workers left behind by big corporations and politicians who couldn't care less. And Trump's grand solution to all this? About as useful as a chocolate teapot in a heat wave. Springsteen's calling him out, showing that Trump's promises are emptier than his vocabulary.
And to oppose Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. He does not understand this country, its history, or what it means to be deeply American. Reveres the Constitution, who does not threaten but wants to protect and guide our great democracy.
It's like watching a master chess player take on someone who thinks checkers is a fancy European game. Well, folks, it looks like our tweeter-in-chief decided to go toe-to-toe with the boss. Spoiler alert, it didn't go well for old Donnie. Trump, with his tiny fingers twitching faster than a squirrel on espresso, fired up Twitter. He was ready to take down Springsteen like he takes down his beloved Big Macs. But here's the kicker. His comebacks were weaker than the coffee at a truck stop diner. In a move that shocked absolutely no one, Trump called Springsteen a washed-up musician. Seriously, Donnie?
Donald Trump is running to be an American tyrant, believes in the rule of law and the peaceful transfer of power.
That's like calling water wet or claiming you have the best words. It's about as effective as using a squirt gun to put out a forest fire. The internet, being the glorious dumpster fire that it is, exploded faster than Trump's ego. Memes mocking Trump's weak sauce insults spread like wildfire. It was like watching a toddler try to outcool his rock star uncle at a family barbecue. Hashtags like #Team Bruce and #Team Trump started trending, turning Twitter into a virtual battlefield. But let's be real, it was more of a slap fight than a war. Trump's loyal followers, bless their hearts, tried to boycott Springsteen's music. Good luck with that one, folks. It's like trying to boycott breathing. You might manage it for a bit, but eventually, you're gonna cave. Springsteen's fans, meanwhile, flooded Trump's Twitter feed with more lyrics than a karaoke night gone wild. The whole Twitter tirade backfired on Trump faster than a cheap firework. Instead of making Springsteen look bad, it just made Trump look more out of touch than a flip phone at an Apple store. Political analysts, those folks who get paid to state the obvious, noted that Trump's tweet storm revealed his thin skin. Apparently, our fearless leader is more sensitive to criticism than a sunburned snowflake. While Trump was busy throwing his digital tantrum, Springsteen's words were striking a chord with folks across America. It turns out, people actually like listening to someone who's been singing about their struggles for decades. Who knew? Looks like the boss just gave Trump a masterclass in working-class politics. Political eggheads are saying Springsteen's zingers are hitting home with the folks Trump claims to champion. Turns out, when a guy who's been singing about blue-collar blues for decades calls you out, people listen. Trump's promises? About as useful as a guitar pick to a drummer, according to Bruce. But here's the kicker. Trump's usual "you're fired" routine isn't working this time. Calling Springsteen a washed-up musician is like calling water wet. It just doesn't stick. Maybe if Trump spent less time tweeting and more time listening to Born in the USA, he'd get why his empty promises are falling flat. Who'd have thought a guy with a guitar could school a supposed billionaire on what really matters to the average Joe? In this battle of the boss versus the big mouth, looks like the sixth string is mightier than the tweet.